They called it the storm of the century, but its impact is just beginning. In this video, you're going to discover how Hurricane Melissa tore into Jamaica, exposed deep vulnerabilities in infrastructure and geography, and revealed lessons for every nation facing the next wave of disaster. Stay tuned until the end for the stunning twist that shows this isn't just Jamaica's story. It's a global wake-up call. We're headed into the Caribbean, to the lush, vibrant island of Jamaica, a place famous for its reggae, its beaches, its mountains, its vibrant culture. Yet beneath the beauty lies a harsh reality. When disaster strikes, the combination of nature, geography, and infrastructure can turn paradise into peril. In late October 2025, Hurricane Melissa barreled in, not just as another storm, but as one of the fiercest ever to hit the island. With winds and pressure readings that stunned climate monitors, Melissa forced Jamaicans to face not only immediate catastrophe, but a question. How do you rebuild when the future itself is shifting? Today, we'll walk through what happened, why Jamaica was so exposed, what must be done, and how the implications ripple far beyond the island's shores. First, let's unpack the scale of the destruction. As Melissa approached Jamaica, it wasn't simply strong, it was historic. The storm made landfall near New Hope in the parish of Westmoreland, armed with sustained winds of about 185 mm, 295 km/h, and a minimum central pressure around 892. These are figures usually reserved for the most extreme storms on record. The violence of the landfall event uprooted homes, shredded roofs, and blasted communities with wind and water. In Jamaica, initial reports indicate massive power outages, hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses left in the dark. The flooding was equally devastating. Entire sections of the parish of St. Elizabeth were described as underwater. Roads cut off, utility poles snapped, and communications gone. The problem here was not just one of wind, but the deadly combo of geography plus aging systems. Jamaica's mountainous terrain, deforested slopes, fast-rising floods and landslide risk made the impact far worse. And the context is sobering. This wasn't just a freak storm, but an adverse outcome of multiple interlocking vulnerabilities. So we have the shock of the event, now the question, why was Jamaica so exposed? Let's peel back the layers. First, geography and environment. Jamaica is mountainous, volcanic in origin, with steep slopes, heavy rainfall zones, and communities sited close to rivers, gullies, and the coast. Researchers estimate roughly half the island is at high or very high landslide risk. That's an immediate hazard. Next, land use and vegetation issues. Between 2001 and 2024, Jamaica lost about 7.4% of its tree cover, a trend that weakens slope stability and reduces natural buffers against floods and landslides. Without forests to anchor soil and slow water, fast-moving deluges carve out destruction. Then, the infrastructure gap. Many of Jamaica's roads, power lines, drainage systems and public buildings were built for a different era. An era of less intense storms and slower change. When Melissa hit, blocked roads, fallen poles, flooded clinics and hospitals were all reported. Add to that rapidly warming seas and a slower-moving storm that lingered. An effect directly connected to climate change. Scientists have found that storms like Melissa are now more common and more intense thanks to thermodynamic factors in the ocean and atmosphere. So the root causes are not hidden. They are structural, environmental, and tied to climate. And that means the next step must be about building back differently. Knowing the problem and its causes, we move to solutions. Jamaica's path forward must be defined not only by repair, but by transformation. Let's walk through key strategies. A. Climate-proof infrastructure. Roads, power grids, drainage systems, hospitals. They must be designed for the reality of Category 5 level events and beyond. That means stronger materials, redundancy, higher elevation for key assets, and emergency backup systems. B. Restoring nature's defenses, reforesting hillsides, protecting floodplains, restoring mangroves and coastal vegetative buffers all go a long way toward reducing landslide and flood risk. Community-based early warning and evacuation systems. With jagged terrain, remote communities and unstable slopes, timing is everything. Early alerts, certified shelters in safe zones, and local engagement are vital. D. Financial preparedness and social protection. Jamaica relies heavily on tourism, about 30% of GDP, and food imports. When a storm roars through, supply chains break, incomes vanish, and households are vulnerable. Insurance, cash transfer schemes, sovereign risk tools, and resilient supply networks matter. E. Economic diversification and resilient livelihoods. If tourism falters due to storm damage, what then? Climate-smart agriculture, blue economy, marine resources, renewable energy jobs all offer alternatives that are more resilient to the next shock. Each of these strategies individually matters, but together they build a resilient system. And they set the stage for the twist you're about to hear. Let's pause here for a moment, because while Jamaica will rebuild, something much bigger is happening. The world is watching, analysing, and taking notes. The narrative of island vulnerability can no longer be viewed through a narrow lens of sympathy or isolation. It must be reframed as a global economic and environmental reality. When Jamaica suffers from storm damage, it's not just about downed power lines or flooded homes. It's about a chain reaction that extends far beyond the Caribbean Sea. The losses in tourism alone can amount to hundreds of millions of dollars. Cruise lines reroute, airlines suspend flights, and travellers cancel bookings. That, in turn, impacts hotels, restaurants and local businesses that depend on the global flow of visitors. But the ripple doesn't stop there. When supply chains are interrupted, when agricultural exports, bauxite shipments or manufacturing goods are delayed, it sends tremors through trade networks that connect Jamaica to markets in North America, Europe and Asia. Even global insurers, who must pay out billions in claims after each major disaster, feel the hit. And those financial ripples affect investors, bond markets, and government budgets worldwide. What was once seen as a local catastrophe becomes, in truth, an international financial event. This is why Jamaica's path forward, how it rebuilds, adapts and transforms, matters far beyond its borders. Here's where the story takes a surprising turn. Jamaica's recovery is no longer just a national concern. It has evolved into a global case study on resilience and adaptation. When a small, middle-income island of 2.8 million people faces the fury of a record-breaking storm, the impact becomes a real-time lesson for the rest of the world. The data from this event is being scrutinized by international development banks, insurance companies, climate scientists, and policymakers alike. What they see is not an isolated incident, but a preview of what's to come for coastal regions and island nations everywhere. Global insurers are recalculating their risk models. Travel and logistics companies are reconsidering how they operate in vulnerable regions. Even governments in the global north, those that once felt immune to tropical devastation, are beginning to understand that climate-linked instability in the Caribbean can affect food prices, migration patterns, and trade flows across the globe. The real twist? If Jamaica fails to rebuild with intelligence and foresight, the consequences will not be confined to its shores. It will become a warning signal, a stark message that small island risk is global risk. Yet, if Jamaica succeeds, if it invests in smarter infrastructure, renewable energy, and community-based adaptation, it can become a blueprint for global resilience. The island's transformation could redefine how developing nations prepare for an age of unpredictable weather and rising seas. This isn't just Jamaica's story anymore. It's the story of humanity learning to live in a changed climate. It's a moment that challenges us to rethink how we view disaster, investment, infrastructure, and survival itself. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and hit the like button. Share it with someone who cares about climate or global risk. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next deep dive into disasters and resilience. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What do you believe is the single most important thing Jamaica must do first to rebuild stronger, and why? I'll be reading and responding to as many comments as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless Jamaica.